It's a rainy, sleepy day in Kingsport, Tennessee. The perfect conditions to enjoy rich coffee and buttery, flaky croissants as you relax with a book, browse through artwork, or make headway on some work in a stress-free environment down at the Crumbum, where you might also bump into the owners, Mitchell and Katie Falconer.
I'm Katie, and this is Mitchell Falconer, and we're the owners of the Crumbum. We opened in
July
of 2023. And we're both Kingsport natives, and the Crumbum is a bakery, art gallery, and cafe in downtown Kingsport. We were both born and raised here. Mm-hmm. We're actually high school sweethearts that went to Dobbins-Bennett and have been together since we were 15. And so we left, we left for college and came back and have just been here. Yeah.
So when I initially, I really got into baking. I've always loved food and cooking and stuff, but really got into baking during COVID. I think everybody needed their COVID hobby to get them through. And I got really, really into baking. And then after COVID lifted, I kind of had this idea that I wanted to open a bakery. Whenever I was traveling around, because all of my friends were getting married now that COVID was over. And so I went to like 5 different weddings like that first year. And I would like go down to every location like a day or two early just to go to as many bakeries and coffee shops as I could. And really what I found was baked goods and coffee, I feel, go hand in hand. But I found that everything that called itself a bakery really was lacking in the coffee front, and everything that called itself a coffee shop was lacking pretty heavily on the baked good front. So I really decided I wanted to do really well at both, or as best as I really could. I really tried to learn as much as I could about coffee and lean into a lot of other small coffee businesses to kind of give me guidance. I think that we've got really good products as far as both go.
Croissants.
Yes.
It's the croissants across the board. The croissants are really difficult to make at home. Hand lamination takes a very long time. Even using a industrial sheeter that we use, our croissants still take 2 days to make. And so you can make them at home, but it's really not worth the effort because you're not going to finish the whole set. But our croissants are delicious. Numerous customers come in and are like, we went to Europe and your croissants are better than any of the ones we tried there. So the year Mitchell started doing this more full time, we went to Paris and took pastry classes, and in order to make sure we were doing things well. And so we couldn't find croissants that we liked better than Mitchell's. And so we're really proud of the croissants. They're the base of a lot of our items. Mm-hmm. And so any of the croissants are definitely a signature item here.
Yeah, I'd say definitely come in here and try our pain au chocolat, which is pretty much our chocolate croissant. It's delicious. And I'll say one thing that I think I knew we were doing it right back when we were at the farmer's market. And there was, we actually had a woman who was from France who would come every Saturday to come get our pain au chocolat and croissants from us. And I was like, there we go. Seal of approval. We're doing something right here. So, oh man. So I will say probably one of the craziest things that happened as far as starting this business was this building is what, 110 years old?
It's over 100 years old.
So we did not have great blueprints or anything or have all the plumbing mapped out. So when we were doing some renovations in the front, they had to cut a big trench to run some new plumbing. Well, because it's so old and they didn't have that mapped out, they ended up hitting a water line and flooded the whole building. Yep. And I'll never forget getting that phone call one morning and just being like, okay, so we're supposed to be about a month and a half from open. And
it was 10 minutes into the start of renovations.
Yeah, they had just started cutting the concrete and immediately hit a water line.
Yeah.
It was that was the beginning of our renovations and fun times. But that might have been one of the craziest things that happened to us right there. So
yeah. There's definitely owning a business, starting a business in general, there's a lot of learning curves and a lot of mistakes we've made that we look back and laugh on now that are honestly terrifying. But we're making it work.
We did not know what we were getting into.
And we listen a lot to an NPR podcast called How I Built This. And we did that a lot before we opened business. It's all about entrepreneurs and the entrepreneurial spirit. And at the end, he always asked them, would you do it again? And the majority of them said, if I knew what I knew now, I would never do it.
Yeah.
And they're like, but I'm happy I did. Yeah. And that's exactly how I feel about this.
I was going to say, I very much understand that now.
On a much smaller scale than something that blew up and became $1 billion industry, but yeah.
I got to say, it's been really nice kind of becoming part of this community, and just I don't think we would have been able to be as successful as we had without having all of these people to rely on. Just how much advice I've gotten and how much, business people have pushed our way. If we didn't have such a tight-knit community, I don't think we would be near as successful as we were. It's one of those things we were just kind of talking about. I had no idea what I was doing getting into this, and without being able to constantly have people who were happy to give me advice or point me in the right direction to some resource, we wouldn't be, I'd still be struggling to get the doors open, to be honest.
Downtown Kingsport is really cool as a business person because we have the DKA, the Downtown Kingsport Association, and we have Cosby. And so those groups help our community stay connected. And so each month there's the Downtown Kingsport Association meeting. And so it's hosted at a different business. So you can build community and go into different businesses. So we've hosted it here. Mitchell's gone to ones at other businesses. And so it's a great way to connect. And yeah, we're really lucky that's one of the things about the size of Kingsport. It's the right size to get to know the other people around you. And when we first were talking to other business owners about opening in downtown Kingsport, they were like, there's not competitive moods in Kingsport. There's enough space for each of us to exist. And so there's other coffee shops in downtown Kingsport. Urban Brews is a great coffee shop, and there's no tension there. I can happily go there and get coffee, and it's not a competitive thing. Yeah, so it's great.
Yeah.
Really like it. The biggest challenge it was construction, really, if we're being honest. But aside from that, it's just the little things you don't know that you need to do. So we had a sneak peek open night in November. And the interface we use for taking money, we didn't know that we had to click a tax button to charge sales tax. So little things like that, we lost 10% of sales that night. There's little things like that in opening a business that are just trial and error.
Yeah.
And just all of that has been the most challenging part, because it's not things you think to ask someone. You don't know what you don't know, and that is very true right now. And so down to food safety and designing a kitchen. Neither of us have ever worked in food service. Mitchell had to design an entire kitchen. And so figuring out how to design a functional kitchen is difficult.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's just not knowing what we don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
And then subsequently finding out we didn't know.
Oh yeah. Such a comfort show was Great British Bake Off, I think, especially through COVID, which I think was a lot of people's comfort show through COVID. Just kind of having that low stress. Everyone was kind of helping each other. And it was kind of cool to see some other people who, because we really launched as home bakers more than anything else. I mean, pretty much everybody who works in our kitchens, was a home baker. And so to kind of see other people kind of on par with what we were doing, was really kind of nice. And we definitely enjoy Bob's Burgers and stuff too.
We're big Bob's Burgers people.
Oh yeah.
And then I haven't watched The Bear, but it's on my to-watch list. I'm currently on a trashy TV run, and so I've got to finish my reality shows.
Got to finish Love is Blind.
Yes, the new season came out. So yeah, but we definitely we still watch food shows.
Oh yeah.
A lot.
Yeah.
The purpose of this shop isn't just to make money. It has to make money to survive, but really the purpose of our shop is to provide a space for our community. So whether that means you come down here and you get a pastry, or your book club meets down here. We have several book clubs that meet in here. It's just a space that you should walk into. We hope you walk into and you feel welcome. You feel like, oh, this is a place I could hang out in. And so it doesn't mean that you necessarily have to buy a bunch of stuff. Like, just come, spend time here, bring friends, and hang out. And it's just, that's the thing. Like, I wanted a space in our community where I was like, oh, I want to be there. I want to hang out. And I think we've created that, at least for the feelings that I like to have when I walk into a space. And so, yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah, I like that.